record and hide. Right. So, who can remember if I want to, get data from any source at all? Who remembers how we do that in Excel? I need help. So just a quick recap of yesterday night. How do I get?
Yes, can I try?
Yes, please.
Right. I think you go to file and then you input.
File. So let's try that. So file
And then it's gonna be input data.
import. Well, I can't see any import here.
Wait. That's interesting. Wait, I just literally touched it.
I think you
Or
have to
you
go
go
on
to
data.
data
Oh.
and then on the side.
Okay.
Sorry. On
Then
the side where it says get data and then there's options.
yay, thank you. And then yes, that's how to do it. Thank you very much. So I like the fact, Mr. Ame, I like the fact that you remembered import data, that we actually imported something, So that shows that you interacted well with it as well, All right, thank you, everyone. That was good. So data, then get data. Okay. So we didn't explore a lot of these options yesterday. We only went straight for text file, which was this employee case scenario 1, which we took into Power Query and we did some work on it. Okay. But let's say that I want to get data from other sources. Okay. We saw that you can get from database. At work, chances are that you'll be getting from databases that your work uses. You see, it's like you're plugging into the source of the data and you are just tapping, data that you need from the source there. And we have the Azure different plugs in quote. And then we have your Power Platform where you have your data flows and data vars. Okay. You wouldn't necessarily need all, but it's good to know how to use as many as possible of this. And how to use this, you just using your work email, because you'll be signed in at work as you, and then you'll be securely plugging into these data sources. SharePoint, definitely, it will be the SharePoint online list, Microsoft Exchange, Dynamic 365, these are all different in-code databases that you see that they use. And it says from other sources. Okay, online. We've got online. Okay, that's the share. Yeah, online is partly SharePoint. Okay, and those are just cloud services as well, isn't it? Other sources from table range. Now, table range is if your data is already like one of the pages here. Say, I add a page here, and the data that you need is already here within your workbook, and you want to take it to Power Query first for whatever reason, maybe to get it really well cleaned up. Okay, so you can actually still get your table from within the same workbook into Power Query using table range. You see, most of the plugs that you get from here, you have them here as well. I mean, if you're getting from the web, maybe you have a link to a particular website. I can try that before we finish tonight. World, maybe you want to Google world population for the most updated or current world population. You want to get it into your data set or report for a reason, you can plug into it. But what we are going to be doing now would be it says from web from OData feed. I wanted to find out what this OData feed mean. Okay, but it's also something to do with online. So I click on that and it's asking for the URL. Okay, okay. Let me cancel that. If we clicked on any of these as well, it's going to be asking for a link, the site URL. Okay, that's why I was copying the URL I got from ChatGPT, for where I'm trying to get to. Okay, let's see how this is going to play out. So it says it's an OData feed. I believe we had some assignments from yesterday night. Something is telling me, okay, well, I don't need this part. This source, I don't need it. I got it from chat, yes, but we don't need that. So let's see if I okay that. And it's going there. Let's see what it brings for us. Okay, it's looking good. Good. Okay. So it opens this navigator, which could be a bit different from what we saw yesterday. Yesterday, we were getting data from a text CSV file. Today, we have gone online, plugged in through an OData feed, and I did that because there's a particular data set called the Northwind data set that's very popular, amongst data students to use and practice. Okay, so let's see. And this is how you could get into a database as well. And it will just have a list of many tables, okay? And you would have already been told, or you have someone going through it with you, the tables that you would really need for the report that you are about to create, okay? So you have, because you're not going to necessarily need everything that you will find there, okay? So I have an alphabetical list of products, okay? So, and you see that's a table that's showing the list of products that's sold by this Northwind business. Let's call them the Northwind business. That's the name of the business, okay? And then we have the categories of those products, and we see how they have categorized each one like that. Each of the products that we saw earlier, the alphabetical list of products. These are the products. You see the product ID. We talked about IDs before, I believe. Product ID, product name, supplier ID, where it's supplied from, we can see. Category ID, and the quantities that are there per unit, their unit price. So this is just information about and you can even see the category names, So you see how, if I was to bring the alphabetical list of products, how that would have a link to the category table. You see, we are already seeing similarities. We see category ID here, and we see here category IDs as well, ID as well. Okay, just a quick brain gym now. Remember what we said about primary key and foreign key. Did we discuss anything about primary key and foreign key in our class yet? Does anybody remember anything like that? Remember, yeah, you were.
I don't remember it.
Yeah, I think we did when we talked about those keywords. Remember, we had keywords that we said we should go research. That was one of the assignments that we had in this class, okay? And we didn't talk about it in details at all, okay?
No, I think you mentioned it in passing, but then I'm not sure it was part of the keywords you told us to go and define. I know you talked about distinct value and then unique value, and then you talked about the difference between yeah, something else.
Okay, I don't think yeah, you're right. We didn't really discuss it, but it's going to be very relevant moving forward for us. So we are going to really, really delve into the whole world, because now we are going to be using data sets that's got many tables, reports that you're going to be creating using not just one table like we saw before, but now many tables. Okay, and because of that, we will need the skill of data modeling. How are you going to help these tables to find each other and talk to each other, in quote, communicate with each other? Okay, for example, I've got alphabetic list of products. If I were to bring that with categories into my data set, they are both related, and they are related because I can see I've got category ID here on this alphabetical list of products. This, let's just call this products table, list of products, so products table, okay? And I've got category ID here as well, okay? Now, let me bring this in first before we go into the world, of keys, okay? So we've got categories. I believe I'm going to need to bring categories in. Let me click this so that it lets me select multiple. Okay, so I'll need this. Now, I would have thought of needing this, but I see there's a product table down here. Okay, and I believe this product table might be more useful than bringing, okay, category record, supplier. Let's look at what we have here, then we'll decide which is the better one to bring of the two. They are okay. I think I would prefer to bring these. Okay, and I am bringing this. They are both the same thing. I'm bringing this because you see within products I saw something. Okay, so we have product ID. Let me expand this. Okay, we have product ID. Product name. Supplier ID, that's the suppliers of these products, their IDs. That's how we use IDs to recognize where something is from, like your identity now, your identity card, identity number, okay? So product ID is talking about the ID that has been assigned to each of the products. If I see product ID 1, I know that is this chai product. If I see product ID 2, it's the Chang. If I see product ID 3, it's the aniseed syrup. Okay. And all those first three are supplied by the same supplier. I know that because I can see the supplier ID for each one of them is 111. Okay. Then I move on to the fourth one, this product ID 4. The product name is Chef Anton's Cajun Seasoning. And I see it's supplied by a different supplier because I can see that the supplier ID is 2. Okay. And each of these products have been put into their categories. And I can see that again, the first 2 now belong to the same category. Okay. Category 1 for each one of them. Okay. And we can see the quantity per unit. The first one, the chai, has 10 boxes by 20 bags. This is the unit price. This is the units that we have in stock. Units on order, we haven't ordered any for now, so that's 0. Reorder level, if it is discontinued, so true or false for that one, And this is part of you understanding your data, going through each one to make sense of what you are looking at, okay? Discontinued category now, okay? I have a whole category table. You see, when you see record, or table, or supplier here, record, that doesn't seem right to me. It's like I'm importing all of categories table, order details table, and supplier table alongside this table. you see. Okay, I mean, we can bring them in and then clear those out, because these last three columns will not necessarily bring any value. Because can you see the first one, instead of giving us the actual category name, it says record, and we have record all through. We have table all through. It doesn't make any sense. Then if I look at the products table, which is similar, let's look at what it looks like they're actually exactly the same thing. Now we are on this one, and exactly what we went through before is what I thought one had lesser. It's exactly the same thing. So I'll untick this. Doesn't matter which one you untick. I'll untick that one. Okay. We definitely need the products to come in. Again, we are relying on what is required from the report. What does the report need? That is what would determine which tables I'm getting, from here. We haven't really talked about the report. We are just jumping into some deep ends of something now, but bear with me. Then, of course, I'll skip all of this, only because I know they are not necessary just yet. But I'll go straight for customers, because I know customers are the heart of any report if there are customers as part of that report. Okay, we want to see, you see, this is our customers table. We can see the customer ID, the company name, the contacts, and so on and so forth. Again, I see some extra table. You see, this is common too within databases. And sometimes it could make your work hard, because sometimes the table because they have put many tables within a table. So this is a whole table of orders, a whole table of customer demographics. So it's like they are inserting a whole table or 2, 3 more tables within a particular table. That makes that table quite very cumbersome, very large, and it might be difficult to get it out. I've experienced such trouble before, and it will tell you that you can't get this because it's complex data, blah, blah, blah. And you have to then send a message to maybe the data engineers or IT to have a look at, or then you start looking for ways to actually get to because you've got your work to do, as well. So, but I'll tick that because we are going to need it. We are definitely going to need employees. Okay, so I'm going to tick that. That's with the assumption that our report has something to do with the employees. Maybe we want to look at how we did by different employees, which employee brought the most to our profit or to our sales for a particular year. Okay, I see invoices here, but I'm not going to look at invoices. We don't need it. I see other details. Okay, yes, we would need other details. Okay, I won't go into other details extended. No. And others, I'll go. And I'm picking this because I'm quite familiar with these data sets. Okay, we've used it before. I think we can bring in regions. I'm not sure we did regions, but let's bring it in for now. And we can bring shippers in. We did have shippers and suppliers. Let me see the difference between territories and region, then we'll decide. Okay, so you know what? I'll remove territories and region. Do I want region really? Okay, maybe we want to look at again the total profit that was generated from different regions, maybe, so that might be something we want to look at. So let's bring all these in, you see, and again, again, this is the beauty of your Power Query. It lets you you know, bring consolidate data sets that are from various sources as much as possible. Okay, it could actually really test your data skills, and of course we get better with time. So I clicked on transform. Sorry, I should have explained that, and I did explain it yesterday. There you have load and you have transform. Okay, I clicked on transform because we need to do some work, some cleaning work, on our data set. We couldn't load it straight on. Okay, it's not ready to be loaded straight on. We had, even from the navigator, we could see a few things that were not right. You see what I said about table within table. For these categories, this is a whole product table. Now, these two opposite facing arrows, if I clicked on that, you see all the columns, the different columns that are within this table. And this table, you see, this products table is the same product. Did we bring? Yeah, it's the same as the products table itself. So why they do that within databases, I would never know. Okay. And the same with picture. Okay, we're not gonna be, oh, I shouldn't have clicked that. We're not gonna be needing picture. Okay. So, okay, it's even saying we didn't recognize the format. Okay, I don't know how we were supposed to, have picture here. Okay, so these two, we are going to take them out. Okay, now we've brought all of these in. Okay, and then we now have the job of looking at each one and conforming. No, not this first one. This was the one we worked on yesterday. So I'll ignore that. Categories first. Okay, so we need the category ID. Our applied source, we applied steps. We can see the sources, we can see the navigation, we can see the category ID. It sees this as numbers. That's why the data type it has given it is 1, 2, 3. I'm fine with that for now. Okay, category name, and the description. What's the description for these category names are? So within the category name, we have beverages, condiments, confections, and so on, and for their description, we have those. Now, that tells me that we can get rid. So I'm going to control and pick these two for my own, and pick these two, and I'm going to right click. When I right click, we can see options of copy, remove column, remove other columns. Let's quickly talk about these two for a bit. Okay, when I click on remove column, it removes whatever I was clicking on. Okay, so that is one way of removing columns that you don't need. But if I did something like this, which you might need at some point as well, right click, and I'm saying remove other columns. That's me saying keep the ones that I've clicked on and remove the other ones. And this is how that would work. So what it has done is it's removed the other ones and kept, the ones that we clicked on, but that's not what we wanted. I just wanted to show us that. Okay, so we go back and remove these two. Okay, don't forget what I said about we should get our hands dirty and play with the things that we learn in class, play around with it. Now I see product ID, product name, supplier ID, and all of that. Okay, so the data types are fine. Then I just want to check if I need everything here. If there is any column you don't need, if it's not going to bring any value to your report, there's no need to bring it along. It's like carrying extra load when you don't need it. Okay, and that looks fine to me. I mean, it's good to scan through for blanks, for missing data, but I'm sure that doesn't, it's not applicable with this data set, you see. And then we look at customers, we can see all the customer ID, contact name, company name, address, Okay, do I really need to see people's address? I don't need it. These are personal, you know, to the people. I may want to analyze by city to see how well we did. That's fine. Okay, but personal address is one of those really delicate, sensitive data that you want to keep away from everyone seeing it. Same goes for date of birth and things like that. You know, I see there's problem with region. You see, maybe I should have brought region in. You know, the other, yeah, I actually brought it in. Okay, let's see how that helps us. We have all these regions and we have the territories. Okay, so I'll leave region for now and see if there would be a way to fill that up. I don't know. The postcode of people, we don't need it, so that needs to go. The phone number and all of these, we don't need them. And I see table within tables as well. All these are whole tables that need to go. So I'm going to remove them. This is you now cleaning your data and transforming. And this Power Query is just like magic. It helps. It makes your life easy. And as you interact with it, you would love it as well. So this is what I was saying about date of birth. We don't need date of birth. We may need higher dates. You may want to look at the how long people your employees have stayed with you for, and do some analysis around how their works have been, and how that could be a good impact on the business. Okay. So all these home number, home phone, they are not necessary at all for the report that we are building at least. Oh, I thought, okay, let me scroll through. So that was it. We don't need these notes either. I mean, sometimes you do, you know, they may want to see some comments on, you know, on certain things about the employee. Okay. So if it's required, you will see within the question that you have received or the business objective, who they report to. If it's necessary, you would see as well. So let me take out these ones at least for now and look at the rest. We definitely don't need photos, photo path, not at all. And you see, these are all repeated tables within that could actually just make the whole table really somehow. Now look at this higher dates and this data type that is given it. If you look at it, we have dates, we have time, and what do you call this one? Is it the whatever meridian, GMT and stuff like that? It's like, let me see. I've not seen this as a data type before, but I understand that it's using like a global,
like the time zone.
Time zone. Thank you. Exactly. Thank you. So if this is the way you need this to appear, fine. But if not, I will just simplify it and change that to just date. Okay. And within our region, we can see a few of the employees did not tell us the region. These are things you can easily ask around because you can see the name of the employee already. Okay, we can ask around and fill that up. Or we could have seen it from their address that I removed. And it could be region where they are working, the region of our business that they are working. So that needs some clarification there. Okay. Then we have other details. I'm mindful of time. Okay. And I know that we won't spend too much time on this. I'm just going to quickly remove the removables so that I can load this and you can see how the Power Pivot looks like within Excel. I'm actually going to remove a few of them so that we don't have too much to look at. Ship country. We are still going to see this data set within, use this data set within Power BI. So never mind what I'm doing to it at the moment. Okay, regions. Let's take out this. And then shippers and suppliers now. Let's take out, we don't need their telephone number either. So from those that are shipping, we can see the ID and the actual name. Okay, and the suppliers, oh, that's quite a massive list. Okay, supplier ID, supplier. I'm just going to take out as much as possible from here as well. Let's narrow it down. Okay, I know there are information that I'm about to cut out, but never mind. So we have that much now. Okay, so let's assume now that our data is ready to be loaded and we want to load it into Power Pivot. Okay, so remember what we did yesterday about close and load to. If I wanted to just load this for it to go back straight into Excel, yes, I just say close and load. But close and load to is what I want to do. And this is what is going to happen. It's asking me, do I want to load into a table, pivot table report, pivot chart? Do I only want to create a connection? You see, creating a connection is, I don't want to bring the whole, everything we saw now in, just so that the size of our report is reduced. I just want to create a connection, you know. So all of those tables, we'll just have a connection to it. We won't have the physical tables within here. That is the meaning of creating a connection. Okay. Again, it depends on if the tables are too much, and it will slow your opening them down, then that would be your best option. Okay. Now, whatever we do, all I'm after for tonight is we need this to be add this data to the data model. You see, this data model part is what I need more than anything. I can decide to load to table. Let me load straight to pivot table report. Okay, it's not giving, yeah, it is actually, it has ticked that. If I did table, okay, let me do table so that we can see this because that got grayed out. Okay, and we are saying new worksheet, so load to a new worksheet. I click that and we have all the tables, you know. Now, this is why it's nice to just create a connection. You see how all of those tables are taking time to communicate with the data source and really get loaded. Okay. All right. So we loaded to a table and let me hide this. This were our former. Okay. So these are the ones we just loaded: categories, products, all of those tables that we just brought in. It's loaded them as tables, and now we have that. Okay. Now, and I did say to load to data model. I'm trying to remember how I get this. Let me manage data. I've not been here in a while, so you will pardon me if I'm fluffing around. Okay. So I opened. Let me do that again. I came into the Power Pivot. Okay, and I'm telling it that I want to manage the data model. Okay, and it opened the data model up for me, like in another window, as we can see. Okay, now it's showing each of the tables. If you are able to follow my cursor, each of the tables are just down here. Okay, but I want to see as a connection. Let me see the diagram view. Okay, this is what I was looking for. Okay, so we have all the tables are now in a diagram form. Let me expand this so that we see it well. You see, all of the tables is just gone on to bring them as the table and all the columns that they have within them. Okay, so let's bring them together and see how we can create a connection, because right now they are not connected. They are not communicating with each other. They are behaving like they are strangers to each other. Meanwhile, say like they are related, as many of them are related, you know, to themselves or to each other as possible. Okay, looks like I still have one hiding here. Yes, that's why. Okay, let's bring it closer as well. Okay, so this is where you now start to, majority of them would be related to the others and other details. Okay, you look at which IDs are common to them. It is the IDs that you will use, you know, or ID, it's safe to say ID in this case, or sometimes the column that's common to them is what I mean, okay? So let's open these up as much as possible so we can see how this is gonna work for us. Employees, we have a bit more under employees, okay? All right. So here we go. Now it depends on what are you connecting with what. I remember we have done facts table and dimension table. Do we remember that? Just indulge me and give me about 5 more minutes of your time, please. Do we remember fact table and dimension table?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. Now look at these tables. Which of them would you classify as fact table, and which of them would you classify as dimension table? Okay. Which would be your fact table and which would be your dimension table? Oh.
For me, the employee names and, you know, last name, and then where you have like the employee, that would be the dimension table, and then the fact table would be where you have unit price, unit stock, and then you have so no, basically where the product is. I think that would be the fact table for me, and then employees will, which
Okay.
is pretty much describing the product. Yeah.
Thank you. I love the attempts that you have because you see, when we discussed it, we were using just one table and we were picking out the columns as the dimensions. Okay. But now we are about to go a bit, it's still the explanation that you know, okay? But we are now about to apply these explanations to whole tables, not just columns within a table anymore. You know, for example, products. The products table is giving us information about the products that is being sold. The regions table is giving us all the information about the regions where business is happening. Shippers table is giving us information about the shippers that ship the products. The same goes for suppliers. They are giving us information about them. The same goes for the customers, giving us information about the customers, you know, that patronize us. The same goes for categories. Categories gives us categories information of the products that we sell. And the same goes for employees. Employees, you know, are the employees that serve within our business, okay? Those are the descriptive elements of our Northwind business. Now, where the actual action, the sales, the money exchanging hands, the transactions, where it's happened, it would be within the others table. Other details and others, you know, those are where you can find transactions have happened. That's where if I go into Northwind, a store, I go and buy whatever products I've bought, the order ID will be generated for me. My customer ID would show that I was the one that bought it. The employee ID of the employee that served me would show. The date I ordered it, the date I required it, the date that it was shipped to me. Those that shipped it, that's the shipper's information now, would show. That's the amount I paid for shipping. The ship name, okay, it would show. The address that was ship address will show, the ship city will show. This is where the real action happened. But actions did not happen in these ones. These were just the what we call the dimension tables or the lookup tables. They were just for information. Okay. These are for information about the descriptives, the things that describe our business. Now, this is the information that quantifies business now, how much business has happened. I'm hoping that that makes a bit of sense, but don't worry, we are going to keep exploring. Now we are going more in depth, you know, using multi-entity data sets, meaning many table data sets. It's not just one table that we saw before. The one table that we worked with before is called single entity. Entity is table. This is multi-entity data set now. Now, enough of the talk. How do we connect this? It's by the product. On the products table, I see the product ID. Okay. Now, tomorrow, we are going to explore more the concept of primary key and foreign key. Okay. Now, but for now, I'm just going to connect because we don't have that much time anymore, you see. So I'm just dragging. I dragged from product ID here to the product ID here, and you see a connection has been formed. We see a 1 here, we see a star here. We will see what that means tomorrow, okay? And I can see customer ID. So I can connect this customer here to the customer ID here, okay? I believe I can connect these other IDs to each other. Those are common to the two tables, okay? Employee ID, I can connect to this. Now, categories is only related to products table, okay? So I'm going to bring it to this side. And the category ID is on here. Where is it? Yeah, there. So I'm going to connect it to here. Okay, you see how we are forming those connections. Region ID, where do I have region ID? Okay, I see supplier ID. Do I have supplier ID anywhere? I don't have supplier ID here. I think I must have deleted it. There must have been supplier ID, but I deleted it. That would have been good to use and okay. But you see shipper ID and ship via are the same. We'll change that later so that they read as the same. I know that because, again, I've used the table before. Now, I've cut out what would have helped, you know, to help these two to connect because I was in a haste, but that can be rectified. And that's the beauty of Power Query. You can go back into the Power Query and undo a step that you have done, because now that I've discovered that, okay, so there's something I did about this that's not right. We can go back in there and actually sort it out and come back here to create our connection. But when we are talking about data modeling, creating relationships between table connections, primary key, foreign key, data modeling, blah, blah, blah. This is exactly what it is about for data analysts. Okay, that may be too much tonight. It's like we just quickly jumped into it, but it's very explanatory, and we will do more of this in Power BI. It will be in Power BI, most of the time it just automatically connects itself. You don't have to, I don't have to do the drag and drop I'm doing here, connect them manually. It does it in Power BI, but it's the same concept, you know, that we are going to be seeing. Okay. I want to say thank you for your time.